Okay, so Marco Rubio is from Cuba. Well, his family is from Cuba. They are Cuban. They left, when Castro came to power. I think that says two things. One, they had money because, of course, people who have money want to get out of a communist regime because the communist regime will then take their money and basically spread it around, federalize it, and that's something that you don't want to happen if you have money. Uh, Number two, they are very open minded because of course they did go back after everything kind of settled down to decide whether or not they wanted to stay and realized fairly quickly that they didn't want to stay. Now, what does that say about him and his family? Nothing, other than the fact that they were obviously a somewhat affluent family in Cuba while they were there. I do think it's important to know, so that stories like this kind of make me feel better about Obama and his birth certificate and all this kind of stuff. I mean, basically, uh, I've interviewed for jobs that didn't even have security clearance levels required, and I was asked, all kind of questions, FBI background checks, and so to be president of the United States, and you would think anything less than that would require an extensive background check. I'm surprised that they don't knock on your relatives' doors and interview them. I mean, why not, right? At the same time, I have a bit of a problem with it. The question is, what is in someone's background that really matters about how they would, do the job? Now, of course, Marco Rubio is a conservative. Well, I say he's a conservative because he's running on a Republican ticket, and I think it would be very hard to win a Republican nomination and not be conservative. So I'm going to say he's conservative for that fact. Not to mention, I've heard his names numerous times on conservative radio talk shows that I like to listen to. So he's a conservative, and the fact that he has communist ties is it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I don't think it has anything to do with him as a person or his policies or how he would do his job. But that kind of stuff is going to happen. My question is, who put that story out? That's what I want to know. Was it the Democratic Party? Was it someone from Obama's camp? Who was it? Because I just don't think it's relevant. I really don't. It seems to be a story put out there just to hurt his campaign. I mean, really, what relevance does his parents going back to Cuba after Castro's victory have to do with anything? I mean, you have to remember, guys, we're talking 50s, 1960s when he came to power. I mean, come on, no one really knew exactly what the country was going to be like once he rose to power. Maybe it's going to be good, maybe it's going to be bad. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with keeping an open mind. Not to mention that's their home country. I have personally thought about leaving the U.S. For somewhere better, but to be very honest with you, I'm not quite sure where that better is. So I'm going to stick around here for a little while. And for instance, Rick Perry. If he becomes president, I'm going to think a lot harder about leaving the U.S. For safer waters. They got scared. Um, so yeah, I mean, and then maybe I'll come back to visit family or something just to kind of see if maybe my fears were valid, and if they were, then of course I would do my best to get out as quickly as possible. If not, I may stick around and say, well, I was wrong. I think that's logical. I think any reasonable human being would do that. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think that says a lot about his parents. And if they are blood relatives, I think it says a lot about Marco Rubio that, he is somewhat open-minded about things. And so that makes him look better in my eyes. But I just think it's hilarious that this story was put out just to hurt his campaign because really, what does his parents being from Cuba, going back after Castro won, have to do with his policies or with him as a person. Nothing at all. But that's the world we live in. It's fun to talk about because I don't think we've had any other stories about where a potential presidential candidate, well, he is a presidential candidate, where a potential president nominee comes from. I think that says a lot about other people. Anyway, I'm going over my 5 minute mark.